Hey y'all, day 7. Today is December the 7th, 2019. It's a Saturday. It's about 1:30 or so in the afternoon. It's a beautiful day here. It is about 50. I think it was supposed to be around 50 degrees today. 48, I think, or something like that, which is, when I looked it up, was about 9 degrees Celsius. So I am out doing the holiday trail, like I said. Or that I said I was going to do yesterday. I was at a good stopping place. I've already been to, I've been technically to 3 locations, but one of them was 2 locations that were side by side. So anyway, I was at a good stopping point to come just down the road a little ways from where I last was to another park. This is the Port Tobacco River Park. Just over here a little bit is technically I think this is Goose Bay, maybe, but that feeds into the Potomac River. Just up here, I'm not sure how much you're seeing, but kind of this spot here, if you can see that maybe, is a nesting bald eagle pair. They've been nesting there for several years. Last year, they were able to set up a live stream feed on YouTube to watch them. They hatched. They laid 3 eggs. Well, the mama laid 3 eggs. I do believe 2 of those hatched. I stopped watching them once they had feathered out, but I know at one point, I'm sure they left the nest. And I think it was back in September they started coming back and getting their nest ready again for the next year's pair, or next year's hatchlings, whatever it's called. I do love birds. I fancy myself, a little bit knowledgeable about outdoorsy things. In a future life, I would love to be a naturalist. Like that would be my dream job, but I don't know that I'm motivated enough to do all the things it would take to make that happen. But regardless, you didn't need to know all that. All that to say, this pair here, they're called Chandler and Hope. They were named that last year. They that's based on a local historical area home, and it's pretty close to here too. I just learned, or maybe was reminded of, that at one point Port Tobacco was also called Chandler's area, Chandler's something, Chandler Town, probably. Anyway, so that's what we're doing here. This is a really special area. This park's only been in existence for a few years. I think it's the most recent of the county parks, but it is a designated wildlife and birding area. A lot of the grounds are left to do what they would naturally do, to leave habitats and food sources for wildlife and birds. So, yay. And with its proximity to the river, it's a great place for ospreys and eagles. So, there is that. Lots of knitwear today because while it is, 50 degrees out, that's not my ideal, want to take all my layers off temperature. So, I've got on these mitts. I didn't write these down because they're in my car. Like, I wrote down my hat and my shawl, but I didn't write down my gloves or my mitts because I made them probably 5 or 6 years ago, and I do not remember. They came out of a magazine that I subscribed to. I mean, it's super simple. Looks like a 3x2 rib or something like that out of some self-striping commercially dyed yarn. But anyway, I just keep them in my car, and my hands were a little bit chilly earlier. Honestly, I like making fingerless mitts, but I don't really see the value of them for myself, but they're serving their purpose today. On a day like today, I guess, where it's, chilly but not cold, they make sense. Regardless, I'm glad I've got them. So there's that. My hat, which I'm not sure, I know there's bright light coming in on me, and it's probably not showing the best, but this hat is the Drost Effect hat. I guess I'm saying that correctly. Drost Effect, not sure. On my projects page. It was designed by Amy Vandelar. I knit it in May of 2017. It took 200 yards of Marigold Gen DK in the colorway Pacific Crest. I actually made it thinking that I was making it for my husband. So it's the 22-inch size. My head is not 22 inches. My head is honestly only about 19.5 inches, but it's spacious for hair. Actually, when I wore it to that burn the other night, I had on ear warmers under it, and that was perfect because it was roomy enough for that. But now that I've got a lot more hair than I used to, it's good for that. So I'm appreciating that today. It's squishy, and it was a lot of fun to make because it's beautiful cables. Okay, so my shawl. The shawl I'm wearing today is the By the Sea shawl. It's designed by Laura Linneman. 2 bases of Unwind Yarn Company yarn. I've got the purple is the honeymoon base, and it is Transylvania Tramp colorway. That was a Halloween inspired colorway. It used 146 yards of that, and the teal is the Journey base in the colorway Until We Meet Again. It was a special fundraising colorway for ovarian cancer awareness, and that was 284 yards of that. I did the pattern a little bit differently. I think it's written for a completely solid body. Instead of doing that, I added the contrast color every 3rd repeat. So, you know, because the border is in the purple as well. I'm not going to pull it off just because the external microphone again, which it's windier here than it was at the park yesterday. So I'm hoping the microphone isn't picking up too much of that noise. I knit it from June to August of 2016. It's not one I wear very often because it is more shallow crescent shaped shawl, and that's a little bit harder shape for me to wear. In fact, I like to wear it kind of bandana style, and I've even got my a safety pin holding it closed so it wouldn't move on me today. So there's that. That's all my knitwear. I did finish a little bit more on the socks last night for little niece. I got to the heel flap is finished, and now I get to do the heel turn. You know, little foot, I think she's a child's 10 or 10 and a half, 11, something like that. It's not very big. So it was only a 22 stitch flap. So anyway, yay for that. I brought them with me today just in case I might sit here and do the heel turn before I move on to my next location. I've got 2 more locations that I intend to visit today before my plans of later this afternoon. I will be home by 4 o'clock because it is the SEC Championship football game. Georgia versus LSU. We've got quarterbacks Joe Burrow versus Jake Fromm. So we'll see. I've got good friends who root for each of those schools. I don't have a loyalty to either one, but I do feel like going into this that Georgia might be a little bit of the underdog, so I might root for them just because I love a good underdog story. So anyway, regardless, it'll be good to wrap up a full day with some college football. And I think I've got to decide on what tailgates next I might want. I do have some delicious ale that I bought at the liquor store the other evening when I went in looking for that cheer beer. It's a Imperial Cream Ale, and it is quite good. So anyway, that's all to look forward to later. So I'm just going to open my mini because I can't remember if there was anything else I was going to talk about. Like I said, I've been doing these historical places today, so there will be footage of that to share with you, so I don't want to yammer on too long and make an extremely long video. Today's box looks like this. The beautiful, I don't know if in this light it probably is not catching it, but there's sparkle in this vinyl that she cut out the snowflakes out of, so good stuff. So let's see, day 7. And it is, oh, it's a green. This is evergreen. And it's gonna be very pretty up against yesterday's colorway and sandwiched between yesterday's colorway and the day before, the sugar plums. Dana told me that when she laid all these minis out, she put them in an order that if you were making an Advent project, that they would be a cohesive, you know, kind of a look to it. especially if you're making something like she is with the adventuresome wrap or anything like that. So she put a lot of thought into how they were presented each day. So I think when I'm ready to do my whatever project it'll be, I'll probably most likely leave that, because she is way more talented at that sort of thing, color management, than I am. And I think she said she laid it out 3, 4, 5, whatever different configurations before she got all 24 in an order that, you know, she thought jived well together. So I'm appreciative of that, and I can't wait to see this one knit up beside its companions. So lovely. And it is just a beautiful green. She's got, I'm pretty sure she made something for her daughter out of this colorway, the evergreen colorway. So good. Catastrophe. Okay, so the only other thing that's coming to mind now is my fun fact. I was looking at this candy cane that they gave me at the one-room schoolhouse, and I got a candy cane and got to roast a s'more, or toast a s'more, I should say. I ended up probably with more marshmallow on my finger than in my mouth, but you know, hey, isn't that what it's about? So today's fun fact is that an average tree takes 7 years to grow to a full height of 6 to 7 foot if you're, you know, gonna do a fresh Christmas tree. So there's a little fun little fact for you. I am thinking that I haven't put up a tree in a few years. I have alluded to the fact that I have multiple cats. Yes, I do. There are 7 of them, and 2 are only a few months old. And I just don't think it's conducive to putting up a tree this year. So what I've decided to do, because I miss not having my ornaments and things, what I've decided I'm gonna do is get some magnetic hooks. The way our house is constructed, we actually have metal walls, which has pros and cons, right? But, you know, for example, if you wanna hang up a picture, you have to drill a hole in the wall. And there's no doing anything with that hole if you decide to take the picture down or, you know, put it somewhere else. The advantage to that is that I can hang whatever I want on the walls with magnets. So I'm thinking I'm just gonna get a bunch of magnetic hooks and just hang all these ornaments from these hooks all over my living room. And you know, part of me thinks that sounds a little wild. It's not my preferred, but it's just how it's gonna have to be this year. So I don't remember what led me into saying that, but that's kind of where I'm, you know, I would like to be decorating. I might put out some Christmas lights outside before the weekend is over, but we'll see how that goes. The only other thing is that I'm sitting here looking at these like sparkly goodness. I don't know how much the light is catching this, but these are my nails that I did. I don't know if that helps at all, but I redid my nails last night, because as I said, that one set just didn't adhere all that great, and so it was starting to lift and it was starting to peel the corners of some of my nails, and I couldn't have that. Since using Color Street, my nails have been in really great shape, and I don't want to mess that up. So this is the Holly Back Girl set from last year. Now this set, even though it's also a year old, went on beautifully, so I expect it'll last me for a little bit. So I'm going to sit here and turn this heel and then move on to my last couple of spots before I get home, get on to that football game. So I hope that you've enjoyed this little field trip today and that you will appreciate the footage that I'm going to bring you later, and I will catch you back here tomorrow. Bye.